All right, we're good. But yeah, man, that's the thing, right? Like you get that free day on Sunday, and mentally you're like, all right, I'm gonna get after it. I'm gonna have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm gonna fucking eat all day long. But as soon as you have that first meal, especially early in the day, you're not doing much the rest of the day. You feel it. It bogs you down. It weighs you down. Clouds up your mind, right? Like you're not thinking clearly. It's just you feel the power of working and being in that fasted state, that hunger that comes from within, not, for food, but that hunger, you transmute it into that mental hunger of wanting to go conquer and attack and beat shit down and fucking plant your flag there, right? I think Napoleon Hill is the one that kind of came up with that, right? That he used, what was it, sexual transmutation. So instead of going after chasing women and doing that kind of thing, you take that hunger and that desire to conquer them and you put it into real life, right? Of going and building a business, dialing your health, all that kind of stuff, right? So you can take that power and use it otherwise. And I mean, you experience it, right? You eat a little bit more than you're supposed to. You eat a couple times a day and you're like, nah, I'm fucked up now. So I'm glad that you experience it, right? Now you see the power firsthand of doing it and then kind of regressing back to the standard way that most people eat. It's clear, right? When you experience it, you're like, oh, this is why we do this way, because I operate better, I think clearer, I feel better, I have more strength, physical strength too, right? It's weird how you would think that you would suffer in terms of your workouts, that you wouldn't be able to perform as well, you wouldn't be able to lift as much or go as long, but honestly, I find myself stronger and going harder the longer I get to a fast, right? It's that motion of blood flow that fasting does, super oxygen rich blood. It's not in your stomach going after digesting the food. It's able to go to where you need it, the muscle that you're training, whatever muscle group that is, right? And so you get that good blood flow there. Like I said, it's full of oxygen, so your muscles feel better, they operate better, right? And you're just constantly pulling out the lactic acid, refueling with oxygen and good fuel. And so you train harder, you get more results. I just feel better training, fasted, and in life in general, right? Like you have that clarity, man. It's just honestly, I'm biased, but it's the best way to approach life is with fasting.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And the springboard to it, to get into the meat zone quicker versus slow to get into that feeling of euphoric that you're talking about, is getting that early workout in the morning done, right? And like beasting through that, whatever that is. And, for me, I strive to be as intense and consistent as you are. And in the meantime, while the reality of the situation is I may not be, that doesn't mean that when I feel like I've fallen off, I say, well, shit, man, like now it's just like, this is the norm. Like the six pack's gone. And like, I had it for a minute. Now it's gone. It's like, no, it's like, I did the hard work at first to get there. And I may have put on, some winter weight real quick, but like already through one day of fasting and an accelerated exercise workout session of cardio, good core workout involving the abs and then doing the sauna, followed by the cold shower, which it's now starting to get cold. Already I'm like, oh, okay, there they are. Just like that. Like where when I woke up, I could feel the inflammation maybe from, and look, the meal could have been great, but then the snacking after the meal, like within the window, it destroys everything. Like I made a fatal mistake the other night where, dude, I had an amazing steak. It was a culotte cut from the butcher, culotte cut, and it was aged 75 days. I overcooked it a little bit, but I should have pulled it when I thought in my mind, but I didn't. But it was still amazing. Like it was insane. It was like a brisket kind of cut, like weird in the back, top sirloin. Okay. And then I had like 2 bowls of Captain Crunch, bro, after that, like before I went to bed. Like, dude, who does that, right? Like, who does that? Like that's like an idiot move. I just contradicted because I had 2 baked potatoes, culotte cut, some greens, and that's it. And like butter and olive oil, all the good healthy fats. I fasted all day. I worked out that morning. Boom, 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 boom. Everything was perfect. And then that was my mistake. And then the next morning, I could feel the inflammation within my back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just that fast, that immense shot of sugar. Imagine like somebody taking a syringe and just plunging a bunch of sugar. What is that? Glucose or what do they
Yeah.
call it?
That's
Into your
exactly.
system. That's what happened.
Yep.
And you wonder why. I'm like, oh, I feel more titties right here. I feel like the fat on the belly again. And
Yep.
where the fuck are my abs, bro? What the fuck did I just do? Do you know what I'm saying? Just like
Yeah.
that. So, it takes a little bit to get it, but it's fast to lose it if you do not course correct quickly. And that's where, being aligned with the Legion, bro, it's the game changer for me. Having the workouts, not to think about, that today was back. I'm like, all right, cool, bet. I feel like I need to hit my back. Like that's perfect timing on top of the cardio and the abs that I've got going on. So it's like everything is there that would really take somebody that is busy in their family, in their business, in their lives, off of their health schedule if they didn't have that. That's
Right.
the key. And in the community and the accountability was showing the meals and showing the weight and showing the pictures, right? And the workouts and the videos. And not every day I can do that, I know, because I'm not on it every single day, but it's like I see the accountability and it pulls me
Right.
back in through the community of knowing and seeing what you do, bro, day in, day out. And I've literally seen your physique change single-handedly, firsthand, from the last 6 months to a year. And I'm like, damn, bro, that's consistency. That's discipline. That's diet, bro. That's like the OMAD at its finest, with like strategic 24, 48, and 72-hour fasts in between, and breaking it with not just like, weak foods, but like, big boss foods. You know what I mean? Like you're breaking the fast, like, and
Convenience,
that's what,
man.
and it felt
Yeah.
good when I tried to half-ass and break the feast with like, like maybe like ground turkey and a bunch of rice. I felt like shit. I was like, that wasn't what I want. I broke it with a steak, two
Yeah.
steaks, center fillets. Let's go, New York strips, baked
Yep.
potatoes, two of them bad boys, bunch of bread, broccoli. Let's go. And then I ate it and I was like, let's go. Right?
Yep.
I was like, this is
Exactly.
bad. This is supposed to be bad the way I feel. No, dude, it's not. So that's why I called you. I was like, bro, everything I see online says I'm not supposed to break my fast. And you're like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel like I can break this wall right here. And you're like, bro, exactly. Just be
Yeah.
your own scientist, master your own biohacking. And that was a word you used also, like biohacking. Like, this is a life hack to be able to
Yeah.
reset, recalibrate, recharge. Staying in it for a long period of time, I can see how the consistency never lets you veer too far off it, because you're like, all right, I'm off track. You can feel it immediately.
Yeah. And that's what it is, right? It becomes the lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not a hack or a trick, right? Like this is just what you do. And the longer you get after it and you follow it, the better you feel. So just like you said, as soon as you stray, you feel bad. You feel like shit in one way or another, right? You either have that brain fog, or you're lethargic, or you start to feel, and even me, right? Like if I eat, so every other Sunday, Declan, my middle son, and I, we go to In-N-Out. That's his shit. He loves it. I, for the first probably 6 months, would eat with him, and I'd have, a burger, and then I'd come home and have a feast. I hate to say it because I love In-N-Out, but for the last 6 months, I've just been taking it, because even if I go just a Flying Dutchman, which is just the patty and the cheese, the way they cook it, the shit that it's in, I feel like shit, and then it affects my real feast at the end of the night, right? And so then I go into 48 on Mondays, which is standard, and it's a lot tougher because the shit I ate at noonish, on Sunday, directly affects how you feel the following day. And so you're not as satiated, you don't have as good fuel inside the body, and so you feel like shit. And so it causes more, not necessarily angst, but more like you have to put more mental energy into it, versus that if you take the opposite approach and just crush a huge fucking feast on a Sunday, right? Like, you see what I eat. I'll put down about 5 pounds of food when I eat. 2 to 3 pounds in the bowl of fruit, and then obviously 2 to 3 pounds in the feast itself. I don't snack after. I'm full of shit, right? Like I like to say, you've heard it, but you get just about Thanksgiving full, right? Like you're sitting down for Thanksgiving feast, and that's what we do. And so you shouldn't really need to snack after that. So if you're finding that you're still hungry, put a little bit more on that feast plate, right? Either another potato or something else on there, so that while you're sitting and enjoying your feast, you're actually going to get full, so that you don't have to go back and snack on some shit or feel like getting full of fucking cereal and that kind of stuff. And believe me, I love cereal, man. Lucky Charms is my shit. But when I eat it, I feel like shit. So it's like, fuck. You know, and there is time for that, right? Like on Sundays, I'll typically have a big ass fucking bowl of ice cream too, right? Like that's my one day where I have that kind of stuff, you know, processed refined sugar, and I'll eat, you know, fucking big ass bowl, like to the point where my wife's like, "Holy shit, you're eating that?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah," you know, maybe some brownies on there too, or cookies and chocolate chips and all that shit. Is that healthy for me? No, physically it's not, but mentally you get that kind of reward, right? And you're looking forward to that on Sunday. So it's not always about the physical side of it, right? The brain has to be engaged and has to enjoy the process, has to enjoy whatever task at hand that you're doing in order to form a habit around it. So if you constantly hate the shit that you're doing, like macro days, when I was doing macros and I was only 300 grams of protein a day, no carbs or trace carbs and no fat, right? So I'd have like broccoli and 99 1-ground turkey fucking 5 times a day. That shit is not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable. It sucks.
Not good for you either.
Man, although I think now I'm probably leaner, I was like 188 and 7.1%. Right. Yeah. So now I'm 205 and about the same percentage. Yet I have enjoyability. I get to fucking thoroughly eat everything that I want to.
Think about your blood levels, bro. Your blood levels and your actual real health from your blood standpoint, not constantly having to feed yourself 5 times a day, the same high triglycerides and all that, the sulfates and everything, dude. Like, this is the way. I am 100%, 1000%. I know it in my bones, bro. The question is how big of a bitch am I going to be today? Am I going to fucking bitch out? Am I going to not go for 48? Or because 24, bro, it's nothing, dude. You can't fast 24. You're not doing this shit, right, bro? 23-1 should be your daily every day. You shouldn't be fucking eating all day every day. Number one, 4 or 5, at least 5, 6 times a week, you should be doing the 23-1. That 1/7th day that you can wake up and have breakfast, you're gonna feel like you don't even want dinner. Like literally, you're gonna be like, "What's going on?" Your body is gonna be like, "Yo, homie, we were just getting into a swerve here, right? I was leaning up for you, bro. I was starting to show you some abs, right? I was starting to hook you up, and then you threw me some eggs and bacon and sausage and pancakes at 10 a.m. And then you're saying you want to go do another steak again at 6:37? Oh, homie, I don't know about that, but you can actually do that if you keep consistent with it and you keep it just to that Sunday. Your body will enjoy that replenishment and get right back on track if you get it into a Monday 48-hour fast. It's just the key of feeding your body an immense amount of nutrients before you go into the 48-hour fast. Otherwise, if you were just going to keep it one meal a day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would say then just keep it one meal on that Sunday. You know what I mean? Just have a huge feast on that Sunday. The 48, it's good to go into it. Like you said, I could see the rhythm, the rhythmical genius behind the Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday 48 or the Monday 72 off of that Sunday, which is like the big feast day after you've been consistently doing the one meal a day every day up until that week and just crushing your workouts, which is the most important thing. Like, that's another misconception with what I've learned with you. You know, one thing is that when you break fast, you can break fast with good whole foods, whatever you want. Just break your fast because you're working out like a motherfucker. You deserve your fucking fuel, right? Secondly is other people that are like, hey, you know, you shouldn't work out while you're fasting because you're supposed to be resting. That's pretty much nonsense as well, because if you can do it and you had to hunt for it, would you just sit in a cave or just say, oh my God, you know, I'm healing when you're actually dying because you're not providing for your family? Or would you go out and hunt and kill no matter what food's in your stomach, knowing that your body is full well capable of going even further if need be to fuel that hunt? So yeah, man, there's a lot of, you know, primordial, old-fashioned, ancestral stuff behind this way of life, and I think it elongates our health in combination with modern-day medicine using it smart, right? But you got to push your body to the limits and let your body heal itself Like you say, it takes so much energy to digest. So letting the body go to work while you got the pink dragon juice. If I'm repping the pink dragon shirt,
There you go. Get that dragon's blood, man. That shit's money. Like
right?
that they're having electrolytes is
Sipping.
that, and exactly, and that's where most people screw up the fast, right? Is they try and go after a fast with water or coffee, and both of those are good, right? And we do that too, but they're not getting in
Minerals,
the electrolytes, and specifically sodium, right? Like they're not getting enough salt into the body, which gives them that brain fog because you don't have the neurosynapses happening as quickly and efficiently as they should. Salt facilitates that. They're not getting as hydrated as they could because water follows salt. So you can drink all the water you want in the world, but you're not going to get as hydrated as if you put a pinch of salt in it, right? Because the salt will pull the water into the cell. So it's like they're raw dogging a fast and just trying to go after it without any kind of protocol. And that's why most people fail, right? Their mindset isn't set right. So it's like, oh, I'm going to try this fast, and oh, I know it'll be hard. And so they're already setting themselves up to fail, right? Like, yeah, it's hard, but anybody can do it. Like my kids do it. My 10-year-old is doing, his goal this week is 4 OMADs. He's 10. And we have adults, 40-plus-year-old adults that are like, I can't go a couple hours without stuffing shit in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset is the biggest factor in anything that we do, right? Training, nutrition, husbands, fathers, business owners. If your mindset's fucked, everything's going to be fucked. So you have to dial in mentally and say, yeah, it's going to be a struggle, but I'm going to fucking knock this thing down. I have the mental ability to control myself. And we all do, but that's the thing, right? Most people don't exercise that control. And that's where we bring the stoicism in, right? Focus on what you can control. Let everything else go. You can't control him or her or the fucking weather, but you control your thoughts, your habits, and your actions. And when your thoughts are aligned with your purpose, getting better, getting healthier, showing up as a 10.0 Jay Kirk, your actions fall in line. You build the habits that are in alignment with that as well. And then that is just who you are, right? You are a disciplined man because you know it makes you better, because it makes you feel better. You perform better. You show up better. You make more money. You're a better husband. You're a better dad. It just becomes who you are. And when you stray from it, you feel it, just like we said earlier, right? You feel it mentally. You feel it physically. You don't have the performance. Your energy, and your energy goes to shit, right? So specifically, like when you come home, we work from home, most of us, but when we're done, right, with the day of work, and now it's cooled off enough where it's park season here back in Arizona instead of the fucking oven outside. So my youngest, we've gone to the park probably in the last week. It's been probably 5 days where we can go to the park, and every single day, Weston comes running in, let's go to the park. And we have to have that energy at the end of the day in order to show up for our kids, right? So I go to the park. I love it. And I love watching them swing and run around and be silly and do stupid shit like kids do. That's what it's all about for me. But before I fucking figured all this shit out, 50% of the time, maybe we'd go to the park. The other 50%, I'd be like, let's go hang out, right? And you can see him kind of slump down and walk out of the office like, okay. But every time I'm like, yep, get your shoes. It's like, and he fucking takes off and goes and gets the shit, and then we're out, right? So it's about having that energy to show up for our families, show up for whomever, our people, right? Business, clients, friends. They deserve us operating at that best, bringing that high energy, that love, especially to the family, right? Like that excitement to be here. I remember when I used to work in an office and come home, kids would hear the car pull up. Next thing I know, I hear daddy, daddy, daddy through the door, and you open the door and there's 3 kids running at you, just want you to, latch onto you, hug you, try and tackle you, all that kind of cool shit that is one of the best parts of being a dad, right? But a lot of us have that issue with essentially separating the shit that we're dealing with outside of the house from the family and our responsibilities inside the house. So they walk across that threshold and bring all the shit, all the fucked up stuff that happened at work, or the stupid shit about the guy that cut him off on the way home. We bring that negativity, that just shit feeling, shit energy into the house, and your kids pick up on it right away. And we can't do that to them. That's not fair to them. It's not their fault. They didn't fuck us over. We did shit that created them, right? And it's our responsibility to create that life that they deserve. So we have to monitor our energy at all times, especially when you're coming home, because that is the most important time of the day for the kids, because a lot of people get up and go to work before their kids are up. And the first experience that you get when you come home is dad's pissed off because he had a shitty day at work. That's not a childhood that you want to give your kid. I know we don't do it intentionally, but there's also no intention to not do it. And that's a big thing that people have to understand, is that however I'm feeling, if it's not, level 10, stoked to be there, stoked to see your kids, want to go grab your wife's ass, slap her on the ass and give her a kiss on the cheek. If that's not what you bring home, you got to fucking slap yourself in the car before you go in there and be like, all right, leave this shit here. Let's go be fun. Let's go have fun. Let's go enjoy our family. And that right there is a big thing that a lot of people have an issue with. And it all starts with that mindset, right? Like tying back to where we started, mindset is everything. This is all for the mind. And the more you dial in on the mind, your training gets better. The more discipline you have, you don't miss training. You don't stray from your plan as much. The body falls in line. And really, I'm in the physical shape I'm in because I push myself mentally to become better, right? And you've heard me say it before, and I'm not the originator of this one, but body follows the mind. So if your mind is fucked up, you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground, you got too much shit going on, your body's going to reflect that, right? I was soft, I was squishy, I had titties, I had a fucking gut. It wasn't pretty. But as I've dialed in more and more and more over almost these last 2 years specifically now, I'm now in the best physical shape I've ever fucking been. I'm 205 pounds, probably between 6 and 7% body fat. I'm stronger than I've ever been physically. And that's because I've dialed in the mindset, right? I've pushed myself daily to show up, to really challenge myself so that my kids have a fucking awesome life. They have cool experiences. They get to go places. They get these awesome memories because I dialed myself in, right? And now my wife has this awesome life. My kids fucking grow up and look back and be like, man, that was awesome. My dad kicked ass. He showed up. He busted his ass. He got up fucking early, went to bed late, but he never missed on these things, which are nutrition, training, and showing up for my family. As long as I do that daily, I win every day, right? And that's what it's all about, is you stack those days, right? Now you're winning weeks, you're winning months, you're winning years. Next thing you know, you're 5-10 years down the line. You're like, holy fuck, look at what I've done in this decade. And it all starts with literally your nutrition and your training. Because that discipline, right, that you build following those two simple things, permeates every other pillar of life, right? And you know this, but this is the most important thing. And that's why we dial in so hard on that out the gate, right? Early wake up, training, nutrition, all those three. If I can get people to do that, every other aspect of their life is going to improve. And you're seeing it, right? Like you're putting that work in, you're dialing in, you're improving. Your wife's now jumping in with you and knocking out workouts. You're all over the kids and their soccer, which is awesome to watch, and the all-star games and watching them dominate, man. Like that's called winning. And I know we struggle at times, a lot of times, especially guys like us. We want to be the best at everything we do out the gate, right? Like we want to crush it. We want to make it our bitch and pull it along on a leash. It doesn't happen all the time, but we have that mentality that, okay, I didn't get it now, but I'm going to keep going. No, I didn't get it today. Well, I'll get it tomorrow. Well, I didn't get it tomorrow. I'm going to get it the fucking next day. At the end of the day, there is no end to this race, right? As they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but this isn't 26.2 miles. This is 100 plus years if we live right. So it's a constant progression of pushing yourself so that we can give them everything that we feel they deserve. That's it.
Dropping bombs, dude. Dropping bombs, dude. Such good stuff, man. It's so true. And like the tiny hinges, they swing big doors, right? These tiny little things of doing it consistently. And you feel it. You're right. When you get off track, you feel it. There's a pull that pulls you back in because you look at yourself in the mirror. Like, and you always said, like, that's step number one, bro. Like, it's different when you look at yourself in the mirror. Take a picture of yourself versus taking a picture and you're looking at a picture. It's different. You're like, damn, you could see it differently in a picture, because in a mirror you'll like flex stuff to make yourself look better here, and the shadows look a little bit better. Pictures don't hide anything, right? So it's like having an honest conversation with yourself is step number one. And then number two is moving in my opinion, like you said, the diet. That's the way back always. Like you know, like a life hack, like a loophole you can take advantage of whenever you're lost in the middle of the sea and you're like, holy shit, I'm just drowning. Guess what, dude? You need a nice solid workout and a good fast, straight up, with some good nutrients and good minerals and sodium and potassium and all that stuff. and a good reminder of resetting your digestive system within your body to allow for the recalibration of all the inner cells. And that's where real healing and advancement takes place. Like I look at your physique, bro, you're continuing to build muscle while doing these fasts, which is incredible, which means you're optimizing your hormones, right? Like your hormones are being pushed. I can literally feel the shift going in the right direction where I'm like, holy shit, their abs are building out of nowhere. Like, where did those muscles come from, right? Muscle building will take place when your hormone optimization starts to take place. So I'm learning about all this stuff. It's fascinating how the human body works, but we were designed like this, hundreds, thousands of years ago, maybe even more. And we were thriving back then as Homo sapiens, as big, strong monkeys, you know what I mean? Like climbing trees and doing all sorts of shit. Guess what? We didn't always have a meal, but we were strong. I know that's for damn sure. We were strong. There were six packs.
Yeah, think about it. Think about it. If you were back in the hunter-gatherer days and you could not go hunt,
you died.
Like you were saying earlier, right? You got a couple days. They didn't eat every fucking day. They didn't go to the store, right? That wasn't a thing. They couldn't go to the fields and pull the crops up. They didn't know how to farm yet. So they would go days on end without eating. If your brain function suffered, if your musculature didn't perform,
you're out.
Your bloodline would end with you and you would not continue. Somehow we made it at least 2,000 years after Christ, right? And our bloodlines are here. So there's got to be something that was innate in us, right? Built in us that allows us to perform even though we don't have food. And when you tap back into that, you're really tapping into the intelligent design of the human body, right? You get the healing process. You mentioned hormone optimization. That's specifically with insulin for muscle building, right? Insulin is going to be the most anabolic hormone that we have, and anabolic means adding or building. So when the way we do it, we keep insulin low throughout the day with the OMAD, and then we intentionally spike it with the feast. And then we're feeding it that good, clean, quality fuel of the food that we eat that came from the earth. The body does what's called calorie partitioning. So it's going to send that nutrition that you eat to where the body needs it most. That's why we train as well. And when you combine the training with the insulin optimization or the insulin response at the end of the day, that's how you're going to build muscle, because anabolic means build, right? You fire it, you're training all day, or not all day, but you train earlier in the day. Your body, when it does get that food, is going to send it to where it needs it most through the calorie partitioning. That's going to be your muscles, because you've stressed them throughout the day with the workout. You're on your feet a lot, all that kind of stuff. And that's how you're able to, even for somebody like me, that's how I'm able to burn fat and add more mass at the same time. Now, for guys that are even bigger, that have more weight to lose, that process can happen even faster, right? Because that fat's going to fall off. It literally will melt off. And at the same time, same principle applies here. They're going to continue to add muscle because they're not constantly spiking that insulin. So you see guys that'll go from 290 down to like 270 in 5 or 6 weeks, but their strength has gone up significantly. Can't quite see it yet because they still got a little loving around the frame that needs to slim down. But again, that all happens in time and with consistency and discipline, right? So all of a sudden they go from this squishy, bigger dude to a couple months later, and you're like, dude's got some traps. I see his shoulders now. Like you can see the outline of the abs, and he's strong as a motherfucker, right? Because most of them are already strong because they're carrying around a lot of weight. But you sculpt it, you build it out where they're not strong, and you're shaping down, just like the artist, working sculptor out of clay, right? Or not out of clay, but out of like fucking marble, sitting there chiseling that. I'm sure you've seen the meme where it's the fat guy chiseling it down, or the fat guy's getting chiseled down, and underneath is this jacked like Greek god.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exactly what it is, right? And that's that recomp, because you are hitting that right. You're hitting the nutrition right. You're giving the body what it needs. You're also causing it to need to come back stronger with your training. And then you're giving it that good quality food, and you're hitting that insulin spike intentionally, and really just giving the body what it needs to heal, to perform, and to thrive. And fat melts, muscle builds, your mindset gets dialed, and your energy's through the roof. And that's really why this is, honestly, and I've tried all kinds of different shit, but this is the lifestyle that allows you to have that freedom, the flexibility, the enjoyability, like I talked about earlier, plus the thing that we're all here for, which is results. At the end of the day, we want results, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this gives us.
So let me ask you this, bro. Like, because I'm tracing back to where my best results were, and it's where I stayed consistent for those like 2-3 weeks, just one meal a day, one meal. I didn't even get into the 48 hours yet. I
Yeah.
chiseled down and got a 6-pack in 3 weeks when we started, like just one meal a day, and then I got into the 48s, and that's when it dialed up even more, and then I kind of fell off. But like just put it what it is, right? So it's like I'm seeing like, dude, I don't have to stress myself. I could literally get it right back, which I already have just by doing 23-1, 23-1, 23-1, 20, and not after I feast, because when I had that steak, it was an amazing long hour feast. And I was like, I took my time going through it, dude. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is perfect, right? If I just stopped, right, it would have optimized my hormones greater than eating Captain Crunch an hour and a half, 2 hours later, right?
Yeah.
That was not wise. Spiking the insulin and the glucose at the same time, right? Right before I went to sleep, that probably affected things negatively. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. The one thing I would say is if that's on a Sunday, feel free to do it, but don't wait so long between your feasts and then doing that.
Yeah, like a dessert. Do it like a dessert quicker.
Right, right. So do it, have your bowl of fruit, have your feast, and then, on Sundays I'll have that ice cream sundae. But it's bam, bam, bam. So I'm still done within max of 90 minutes of eating. Typically not that long, but you can go that long on Sundays. And you'll be all right. You'll still, on Monday morning, if you weigh in, you'll be heavier, right? Like, because you're going to have all that sugar, you're going to have inflammation. For me, so I'm wrapping up 48 today. Yesterday, I was 207. Today, I was 201, right? Like 6 pounds in a day.
Wow.
Well, that's the inflammation from the sugar and shit, right? And that's
Yeah.
to be expected. I've done this enough now where I expect to see a big jump on Monday, and then Tuesday when I go in, I'll see anywhere 5 to 6, 7 pounds. And then I'll feast again tonight, and I'll be back up around 203, 204 tomorrow. So the body is an amazing machine when we feed it the quality stuff and we treat it right, and push it physically, and we try and cause it to grow. We just have been programmed to fuck it up intentionally with shit food and horrible eating habits, and constantly stuffing your face 3, 4, 5 times a day, snacking on this shit here, eating that there, having a Starbucks that's got 1,500 calories in it, fucking 100 grams of sugar. And don't get me wrong, I love me a nice caramel macchiato from Starbucks. Those things are fucking amazing, but you just got to know what you're getting yourself into if you do that, right? And that's the big thing is really just being aware. And again, that's something that fasting helps with, right? Is self-awareness. By fasting, you realize how reliant you are on food, not when you're hungry, but as a comfort thing, as a I'm bored kind of thing, or as a I'm stressed out kind of thing. A lot of people eat emotionally, right? Or because they're bored and they don't know what else to do. And so as you take back control over food and you see like, oh shit, I'd normally be going here, I'd be going there, you realize how many times you go into the fridge or the pantry during the day. It ends up being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And maybe it's just a little thing here and there, but most of the time when it's in that situation, it's a candy bar here, it's bag of chips there, it's not good. You know what I mean? Right, exactly. It's not you're going after pistachios or you're going after lean beef or something. You know what I mean? You're eating that packaged shit because it's quick and easy for you to grab real quick and go back to your desk, or to grab real quick as you're on the run going somewhere. So it self-awareness is such a big benefit to us because it allows us to see where we're coming up short, which allows us to improve, right? Like I had the epiphany that I was not necessarily selfish, but I was a selfish man child. I was putting how I felt in what I wanted to do almost ahead of what I knew was best for my family. And not that I was detrimental to them. I wasn't hurting them, but it wasn't showing up and giving them what it should have been, right? What I should have been giving them. And so you become aware of your shortcomings. And now, like I said earlier with that park story, I'm aware of how my actions affect my people, my tribe, right? And so it's not about what I want, it's about who I need to be for them. And as long as I keep that in my mind when it comes to any kind of decision-making process, it's easy. Like it eliminates that whole having to think. Does this align with me being better for them? If it does, then fucking go after it. If it pulls you away or causes any kind of struggle intentionally, then why would you fuck with it? Because you're not hurting yourself. You're fucking your kids over and your wife over because you're showing up as a piece, not necessarily a piece of shit, but shittier at a shittier level than you should be, right? And I won't do that to them anymore. I won't do that to you. I won't do that to any of my people because I understand and I'm aware of how I operate, how I think, and how I show up when I do certain things, right? And I'm also aware of all that when I do the right things. I feel the difference. I have a clearer way of communicating. I'm more exact with my wording. I'm more receptive and in tune with what's being communicated to me, so I receive it better.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so many different things that we could do a 2-hour, 3-hour.
Feeling good. You're feeling good. You're ready to receive information and help other people feel good as well. And if somebody's not feeling good, it's like, how can I help you? Right? Like I'm good. Like I'm good. Like I could go with food. I could go without food. Like I'm good. You know what I mean? Like the control and the discipline and the stoicism is definitely prevalent, in this process. And you can see how it helps you develop into like a higher level man than you've ever been before. And when you burn bright, bro, when people can attach to people like you, it's easy for us to be like, all right, I'm fucking up big time here. Cause like I know what I'm like when I'm doing the activity I should be doing and being the dad and the husband. And I know exactly what you're saying, bro. Like I go through the same, like I'm either on or I'm off. Like, you know what I mean? Like that with me, it's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, and we can cut this part. If you want, we can pop off recording because I think we got some good content for you.